From Washington, this is VOA News. I'm Jonathan Smith reporting. A suicide bomber killed at least 14 people in Iraq Sunday at a camp for families internally displaced by fighting. 13 people were wounded in the attack on the camp, which is west of Ramadi, the capital of Anbar province. There was no immediate claim of responsibility for the attack. Iraqi forces retook the cities of Ramadi and Fallujah from Islamic State terrorists, but the jihadist group retains control of western parts of Anbar province. Syrian state television is reporting that a suicide bomber in a car blew himself up in central Damascus Sunday, killing at least 8 people and wounding 12 others. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights says 12 people were killed. The fire at a Syrian refugee camp in London's Bekaa Valley Sunday killed at least 1 person. About 100 tents were destroyed. More than 1 million Syrian refugees live in Lebanon, mostly in settlements in Bekaa, near the Syria-Lebanon border. Iraqi troops are pushing deeper into Mosul's old city in their attempt to recapture more positions from the Islamic State terrorist group. The area is a densely populated neighborhood west of the Tigris River, where ISIS militants are now making their last stand in what are expected to be the final days of the battle for Iraq's second-largest city. A group of key American senators, led by Senator John McCain, visited Pakistan Sunday, where they met top government and military officials to discuss bilateral ties, counterterrorism cooperation, and efforts to promote peace and security in Afghanistan. This is VOA News. The World Health Organization says 1,500 people have died since April in the rapidly spreading cholera outbreak in Yemen. Almost 250,000 people have been affected. The WHO says about 1/4 of those killed were children. Dr. Sharon Varkey is UNICEF's deputy representative in Yemen.
Every minute, every single minute, 1 new child is reporting sick with acute watery diarrhea. Unfortunately, some of these children will not live to see the light of the next day.
A 2-year Saudi-led campaign against Houthi rebels has damaged infrastructure and has caused medicine shortages in Yemen, which is the Arab world's poorest country. Brazilian police say they have arrested an infamous drug kingpin who had evaded them for 3 decades. Luis Carlos da Rocha had undergone plastic surgery in his heretofore successful efforts to stay free. Police believe he operates a huge international cocaine empire. Samsung Electronics said Sunday that it will start selling refurbished versions of the Galaxy Note 7 smartphone this week in South Korea. The Note 7 was recalled last year because its batteries sometimes overheated and caught fire. The refurbished versions will use different batteries. Former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Olmert is back at his home in Tel Aviv, not long after being released from prison. The parole board granted him early release from his 27-month sentence for corruption. He had served 16 months. The 71-year-old Olmert did not speak to reporters. He was convicted in 2014 of obstruction of justice and accepting bribes while he was mayor of Jerusalem. President Trump ratcheted up his attacks on the mainstream American news media Sunday, tweeting a professional wrestling video showing him tackling and beating up someone with a CNN logo electronically pasted on their face. He also called CNN the FNN, the fraud news network. He posted the video on both his personal and presidential Twitter accounts, a day after he described his use of social media as, quote, modern-day presidential, a way to communicate with millions of his followers by bypassing traditional U.S. media outlets. The video is from a 2007 professional wrestling event where Trump performed outside the wrestling ring in a fake match. You can find more on these and other stories from around the world around the clock anytime at voanews.com. I'm Jonathan Smith in Washington.
That's the latest world news from VOA.